Good morning. My name is Dave Flores, and I'm one of the elders here at Fremont. Today's devotional is from Mark 6:14 to 29. I'll pause for a moment to let you read the verses before I continue. This devotional is a story of anger and revenge, resentment and death. Jesus is never even mentioned. Instead, the plot revolves around two men, John the Baptist and Herod Antipas, ruler of a minor principality of the Roman Empire near Galilee, and two women, Herodias, Herod's wife, formerly married to Herod's brother Philip, and Herodias' daughter Salome. John had gone to Herod and had told him that his marriage was a moral outrage. As reflected in verse 17, Herod had broken up his brother's marriage in order to take Herodias as his wife. Herod did not like John's words, but the blushing bride was so infuriated that she wanted to kill him. Herod, who spent most of his time trying to please people, decided to lock John the Baptist in prison. Things came to a conclusion when Herod threw a party banquet for himself. The entertainment for the evening was provided by Salome, who danced up a storm that Herod told her she could have anything she wanted. When Salome asked her mother what should she ask for, Herodias shot back, asked for the head of John the Baptizer. Salome returned to the party and made the demand, adding her own personal touch by requesting that John's head be served on a platter as the last course at the banquet. Herod did not really want to grant the request, but he couldn't afford to lose face in front of Salome or his VIP guests, who had heard him make his foolish promise. After the death of John, his body was claimed by his disciples and laid in a tomb. Though Jesus is never mentioned, the key to understanding why this unfortunate event shows up where it does in Mark's gospel is its relation both to the growing fame of Jesus and the success of his disciples. On their very first missionary journey, the disciples had cast out many demons and anointed with oil many who were sick and cured them. Just as in the opening verses of Mark, in the beginning of Jesus' ministry, is linked to the word of John the Baptist, so here, John's death foreshadows Jesus' death. Just as John's willingness to speak the truth leads to his being taken prisoner and suffering a terrible death, so it will be with Jesus, and so it will be for many of the early followers of Jesus who will be imprisoned and die for the sake of the gospel. Those who follow Jesus in any age must never become carried away with the naive notion that the faithfulness to God will ever be easy. The road is rocky. And of course, there is the capacity for evil that can flourish in any human heart, regardless of the outward beauty or grace. There is the ferocity of wounded pride and the wish for revenge. These too are real. This devotional reminds us that John reached out to the many. His call to the repentance was not just for Herod and the religious leaders, but for all Judea, which is to say for all of us. When faced with difficult choices of our own, we may be tempted to turn aside from what we really know to be right for the fear of the consequences. John the Baptist's call to repentance strikes home, but there is another side of his message. John always pointed beyond himself to Jesus, the Christ. This Jesus, the Son of God, had come to bring God's promise of forgiveness and deliverance from evil and death. This is the dawning of God's kingdom that John proclaimed, a reign of peace with God and one another. May we always strive to have the integrity and courage of John the Baptist, who stood firm in his beliefs, even though it ended up costing him his life. May we strive to live as John lived. God bless.